guys, and welcome to my new tutorial on how I make these super derpy Sonic the Hedgehog ice cream plushes. The materials that I'm going to use is felt, embroidery floss, these like amimaguri eyes that I use in my crochet, and some ribbon to just tie off at the end just so they can hang. You'll also need your basic tools, you know, like needle and like a basic thread, pins to hold the material and stuffing as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I did draw up my initial plans on how big I wanted these plushies to be, and they're about there. So I did a 4x4 inch square and then drew my design. So I did Blaze, I did Takal, and I also did my OC Moss. And then I got some Ami Maguri eyes which match the rough size because I wanted the gumball effect. What I'm doing now is I sanded them and then I've attached them to this cardboard box just so they're easier to hold, and I'm going to spray them with this surface primer that's suitable for toys. Once they're all dry, I'm going to go in with some basic acrylic paint and do really thin layers to get that gumball effect. I did the noses in a chocolate brown, and then the eyes and everything else I made look like the gumballs that the typical ice cream plush does have. Once they're all dry, I'm actually going to coat them with some UV nail resin. I use this top gel. I use this in my polymer clay figures as well on the eyes because it gives a really nice gloss effect. And I just set the UV nail polish with this UV light. I would highly recommend this. If you're not a fan of the big bottles of UV resin, I really like using this nail top coat as an alternative, and it gives them this really nice high gloss, which was the finish I was definitely looking for. So this is how I created the pattern. As you saw before, I drew them out in that 4x4 square, and now I'm going in on a thicker piece of paper and I'm cutting all the different elements out for the different colors. So you know, the lollipop stick, the muzzle, the pieces of hair, Takal's headband, everything like that. And then I'm numbering them as well on this the overlay, so I know where each section actually goes on the main image. I did this for all three of them, and it just helps for me to know when I'm pinning them on where they're going to be. Actually, some of these pieces I didn't actually use, the extra bits of the hair I ended up not using. I just used the main parts, the eyes, the muzzle, because as you'll see when I'm cutting out the felt, the way it's layered, I actually didn't need them extra parts. They weren't needed. And this is how it looks. This is the plan. So I'm going to cut out these pieces. I keep them in an envelope just so I don't get muddled up between each of the characters. So this is for Takal. I've got this really nice peach color. I've got some yellow and some brown for the popsicle stick and some white as well. I actually used two different color whites, one for the eyes and one for the muzzle for Takal. This is really cheap felt, by the way. This was just from Amazon. I didn't buy the high quality stuff because I have way too much of this cheaper felt. If you were here when I started doing my TikTok videos, I actually did do a lot of felt crafts. It is a craft I really do enjoy, and it's a nice one for if you just want to sit on the sofa and just do this. And for this, you can just use a normal pen, but I did get these heat activated pens where if you put some heat on them, the ink just disappears. And these are so good because I used to have a lot of trouble drawing on black and white fabric, and these pens were really good for this today. So what I'm doing, I'm cutting out each piece, and then I'm layering them on top of each other just to make sure they all match up. So I use two pieces for the main body, so one on the back, one on the front, and just make sure everything lines up and looks good. And as you can see, I store everything in an envelope so I don't lose all the little pieces. So I'm just, as you can see, this is the top layer, and I just pin everything in. I'm using a needle and thread for this part, just for the smaller details rather than using the embroidery floss because it was too thick. I use the embroidery floss for the outside. I do a blanket stitch for the outside, I believe it's called, and then I just use a simple whip stitch just for all the details. So this is how she's looking, bit cursed on the back, but this is how it is with all the details stitched on. So I'm now going to go ahead and pin on the back piece and slowly do a blanket stitch around and stuff it. Yeah, it's actually a very fun, easy craft to do. I would highly recommend this. And here they are all finished, looking super derpy, super goofy. So we've got Jacal, we got Blaze, and we have my OC Moss, who you'll see from my icon and everything like that. These came out really cute. I've also got my Sonic keychains up there, as well as, I don't know, I'm showing off my 35th anniversary figures for some reason as well. But yeah, these are really cute. They're really squishy. If you don't want to use ribbon, you could use like the metal like hoops, you know, that you use for keychains as well, and that make them a little bit sturdier. But just because I have got these hanging up on a shelf, it's easier for this. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoy this video, and thank you so much for the love on my previous video as well. I hope you all have a good day. Thank you.